Hey guys, welcome to Sippin' and Spillin' with Sid from 3 Mississippi. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. Whew. It's been a busy few days. You guys know we just got back from Freedom Weekend, and Frankie and I from there went to Eastern Tennessee and spent a few days at Fall Creek Falls, and came back and had a bunch of laundry and cleaning to do when I came back. And kind of reassessing animals and just kind of taking care of stuff and editing video to get out and all that good stuff. Frankie hasn't been home much because she's helping dog sit for some friends of ours from church that are out of town, and so she's been gone quite a bit. So I've had extra time with Toothless, our new little kitten, and she's so cute. I just love cuddling her. And in fact, a couple nights I've woken up, because I tend to wake up a lot in the middle of the night, and a couple times I've now gone and just laid in Frankie's room with the cat and cuddled with her because she's so stinking cute. I just cannot with her. And I've got some projects I got to work on this week. I've got 2 things that I need to put together. One of them's more of like a quasi build, and the other one, I would say, is more of a put together situation. I've got an issue with at least one of my laying hens being a bit of an egg eater, and I cannot figure out who it is. I have my suspicions, but I don't know for sure. And that being said, hi baby, what you doing? I've got Filet of Fish over here, which I'll get to in a minute. Anyway, the egg, like the laying boxes we have now are fine, but they're meant to be mounted a certain way so that the eggs roll to the back and out, right? Well, we don't have them mounted, I just have them sitting, because technically the coop is not 100% finished. So I got some nesting boxes that are true roll out to the front, lift the hatch, the birds can't get to them. So I'm hoping that will solve the problem. We did move the birds, or actually Mike moved them to a new patch while Frankie and I were gone, and fixed the electric fencing because part of it was messed up. And so it's fully electrified now, keeping everybody in, with the exception of a couple of my younger ones, a couple of my Orpingtons and one of my Easter eggers that has decided that they're too good for the run, I guess, and they keep getting out again. They lasted for a few days and then they decided they're out. So I have a 2-part situation to fix here. The egg eater, no problem, gonna put the nesting boxes in. That should solve that. And I'm gonna work on that this week. And then I've got and I'm gonna see how mobile it is, because I don't know if it's gonna be as mobile as I would like. And I really won't know till I get it put together. It's a large pen. I forget the actual size of it, but it's a large hooped coop, essentially, that has a built-in shade cloth that goes over part of it. And my thought is to put these rogue birds that keep getting out, these younger laying hens, in there for at least the foreseeable future. And then my runner ducks that I've still got in the brooder with, I'm pretty sure it's a rooster at this point. And I forget now. I haven't looked at it that closely, I'll be real honest with you, but it's some random, like, bird that was one of those ones that came when we ordered our meat birds. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's a rooster. They're almost always roosters, and they're sometimes jerks, and this one's kind of a jerk. Every time I go in there to feed, it wants to, like, bite me. Anyway, throw the runner ducks and this bird and those rogue hens in this hoop thing for a while, and I'm hoping that it's one that I can kind of move a little bit. I think I'll be able to, but also I'm not sure. And it's, again, one of those things that I don't think I'll be able to know for sure until I get it put together. And not that I would need to move it a lot, because we're not talking about a lot of birds in there, but you know me, I'm always looking for another place to put an animal when somebody's sick, or when, you know, when I need to separate somebody for breeding purposes or whatever. And I haven't had that here the way that I would like, because of the way we've been kind of having to set things up as we go and kind of build as we go, because there was no animal pens here when we moved. You know, where we lived before, we had 3 corrals, 3 long pens that we used a lot for a lot of things. And then I had another separate pen in the back behind the pool, and another separate pen over here. And then we made another pen underneath the, what we called the barn, but it was more of like a half shelter. And then we'd made another pen on the other side of that one year when we had a lot of turkeys. And like, you know, we've always had extra spaces like that. And I don't have that here. And I could always lock them in the run too, birds. And then we had, you know, we built the turkey coop is what we called it, but I had my peafowl in there, and my midget turkeys were in there, and whatever, my breeders. And so I haven't had that here. So that, getting that up and constructed, I'm hoping to be able to do that on Tuesday. That's my goal, and get that done and get those guys moved out of the brooder and into that spot temporarily. The reason I'm doing that is because runner ducks tend to be a little bit more skittish, and the last batch was able to get out through the netting in the poultry electric fence, which I've got bones to pick with poultry electric fencing. It works to deter predators, but it doesn't always keep the birds in. And because some of them, depending on the bird, they can just walk right through the netting, because they're all different sizes depending, you know, on where the netting's at. And I'm like, I don't know why they make it that way and not more like at least the size of chicken wire. I mean, I understand if they're not going to do like hardware cloth style, but like at least, you know, a size where they can't just all get through, where some of these squares are like this big and they can just get right through it. Especially, you know, your more juvenile birds. So it's just, I feel like they're just going to book it right through there, you know. And the shock on it is enough to wake them up, but with birds, it's harder for them to receive the shock because it has to get under their feathers. They have to touch it with like their beak or their feet, and sometimes it's so quick that it doesn't, they're like, they scoot through before they really feel it, if that makes sense. So that's my issue with that. So having this set up, they won't be able to get out of it. It won't be quite as predator proof in the sense that it's not electrified, but part of that will have to do with where I put it, which I'm still trying to figure out. I may go put it down. I don't know, I'm debating. I may put it up here where I have in the kind of essentially the front yard where I have the meat chickens out here now, and put them out here for a little while. I may put them in a spot in the horse pasture for a little while, because Beulah won't care. She'll just be like, what are you doing? Okay. But I'm definitely gonna wanna find a spot to do it in the shade. I was gonna try to get it put together today and move them. However, we're expecting storms to roll through, and I don't really wanna be playing with metal during a lightning and thunderstorm out in the middle of the pasture or the field or whatnot. So I'm gonna hold off on that, I think, until either Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday, which is fine. You know, another day or two is not gonna be the end of the world for them getting moved, but is what it is. The other thing is that, you know, like I said, we've got our meat chickens out here, and you know, meat chickens, you don't get attached to them generally. I don't, you know, I spend time with them in the sense that I feed them and I water them and I move them, and then at some point I process them. We've had this one that started getting out. There's one spot in there that's like a little more open, and she's figured out that she can get up and through that, and she's the only bird that's figured that out. She has taken to, and she's sitting right now, it's hot, so she's sitting in my hostas in the shade in the dirt over here. But I have named her Filet of Fish, and since I have gotten back from the mountains, she has come up onto the porch every day, and either the first day she sat up here and watched me drink my coffee and like roosted over here and just chilled. The next day she came up and sat next to me and went to sleep next to my leg. And then the next couple days, she has, as soon as I've sat down, she's gotten and crawled up in my lap and gone to sleep, and like laid down and gone to sleep and just wants to be pet. I have never had a meat bird like this, that number one, liked to be touched like this and just curled up to me like this, ever in the 12 years I've been raising, 12 or 13 years, however long it's been, that I've been raising meat birds. Never have had, ever, never, ever have I seen that. I've had that with like silkies. I had an Orpington that was like that. But I've never had a meat bird that is like, and she follows me around on my morning chores. And she's adorable. And so I sort of have a porch chicken now, I guess. I tried to put her in with the laying hens this morning, but she got so agitated, she stood by the door and paced because she wanted to follow me on the rest of my chores. So I let her back out, and she did. She followed me everywhere I went, down to the goat pen, up to Beulah. She came up here. She did not go back in the pen with the birds. She's like, I don't belong with them. So she sat and ate her breakfast separately. Like, she's got her own agenda. I'd pick her up and show you right now, but she's hot right now, poor baby, so she's in the shade. But, so I've named her Filet of Fish because here's my thought process. I can't name her Chicken Nugget. I can't name her something like that. And Mike has already had said, when I told him that she crawled up in my lap, he's like, well, we're not keeping her. So I'm like, well, if I name her Filet of Fish, then she would be funny tasting chicken, and maybe he won't want to eat her. That's my theory. Also, I'm very good at moving animals around and him not noticing for like a while. So right now she's fine because she's sort of like chilling on the porch and the birds are near the porch. So, and she also, get this, I think she's potty trained herself, okay? When she has to go potty, she gets up, goes out onto the grass, potties, and comes back. This is like, birds don't have control of, like, you can train parrots sometimes to do that, to like be a little bit potty trained. But even then, sometimes it's hit and miss. Like, they'll know that they're supposed to go on their towel when they're like loose in the house. I used to have a parrot, that's why I know this. And they'll know to like only go on their towel if they have to go potty, but they don't get a lot of like warning or control over their cloaca. When they gotta go, and it just happens, right? Homegirl's got some control. I don't know what's happening, but she like gets up, goes potty, and then comes back. It's the weirdest thing. Like, homegirl needs to be studied. I do worry a little bit because she's sleeping out here in the hostas on the porch. So she's pretty safe and camouflaged because, you know, the predators don't generally come up this close to the house. You know, when the birds were out further in the yard, like towards the driveway, I'd had a little bit of coyote issue out there. But when they're this close, you know, I have my porch lights that are on in the evening, and they's usually just not a problem. They just don't usually come this close to the house. So, so I think she'll be okay. I mean, she's out here with Bunko. They get along. So it's just weird, but it is what it is. And apparently my life was missing a porch chicken, and who knew? So Filet of Fish, welcome to the family. So you guys have to bombard the comments on 3 Mississippi with save Filet of Fish. Hashtag save Filet of Fish. Because if Mike gets his way, she will end up in winter camp. And I'm petitioning to keep, it's like Charlotte's Web. She's just, you know, she's a special pig. You got to save her. So I think that's my goal, guys. So hashtag save Filet of Fish, bombard 3 Mississippi's videos. Any video that you see in the next few days, week, whatever, bombard it with that if you see this, because we want to save her. We want to keep her out of winter camp because she's unusual. And if for no other reason, like, I want to see what happens with her. Like, now, the flip side of this is Cornish crosses don't generally live very long lives. They are bred for a specific purpose. They are kind of test tube babies in a way. Genetically, they are kind of fakaked. They're not built for longevity. They're built for girth. you know, and speed. And so, but I have had Cornish crosses that I have kept with my laying hens for, I think the most I ever kept one was like 2 years. And then we did end up processing it. But it was kind of an experiment because I just wanted to see, like, if they're able to free range, like, do they do better? Which they do, versus if you just keep them cooped up and feeding them corn, essentially, they tend to have all those health issues you hear about, you know, the heart attacks and the enlarged hearts and the breaking of the legs and all that stuff. That stuff tends to happen more versus if they're able to go forage and live life like a bird. So anyway, that's what's happening with that. Filet of fish. She's over here. She hears me talking about her, but she's under the garlic. Are you gonna come here? Come here. Oh, big stretch. Oh, don't fall over. I know it's hot, baby. She's so hot. She got her little wings out. But I feel like I have to show you guys. Like, let me see if I can do this without completely, don't mind I can't see what you guys are seeing right now because I can't see the front of the, do you see her right there? She's just chilling. She's hot. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We're gonna save her. It's gonna happen. Anyway, so a few big things I gotta take care of this week. Get these animals moved. Get this egg eater stopped from eating all the eggs. And get that coop built so that I can put the ducks in there, them in there. I may put her in there. We'll see. But she likes to come out and have coffee in the morning. So what I might do is I'll let her out, like let her have come coffee, and then then I go out and feed them breakfast, and then maybe put her up. We'll see. Haven't decided yet. We got time to decide, Filet. It's fine. Anywho, guys, that's what's crack-a-lacking over here. I hope you guys are off to having a good week so far. And I'm gonna get back in there and get to it and kind of see what the plan is for the rest of today. And I know Mike says he's got a mow, and other than that, I don't know what else we're gonna do because it's a hot one today. Like, I'm sitting here regretting, I've been in air conditioning all morning at church, and we went out to a restaurant afterwards, and I'm regretting my life choices right now. But anyway, appreciate you guys. As always, stay blessed, and remember, safety's off.